What is going on? How are y'all doing today on a Sunday, August 15th? It's your Uncle Steve here to talk a little bit about what went on this weekend with our Atlanta Falcons and obviously other things you want to do and check out. Thank you to our brother Tidy for always laying the foundation for the beginning of Falcon Talk. Good to see everybody shoot up in here. Finally seeing some football, man. I mean, I'm more excited about that aspect of it than anything else. I mean, we waited all year. I know everybody's pretty excited. We seeing some live ball. We're not talking scrimmage. We're not talking training camp. We're not talking OTAs. We're talking about real life football. So real good to see the teams get out there and do what they do. Brother Jansen, how you doing, Brother Jansen? Up there stirring up trouble, brother, on Twitter the other day. I love it. Gotta love it, brother. You keep doing what you do. Tidy, I'm going to get on Tidy in a little bit. Tidy trying to talk about a brother's gray hair, but that's fine. Brother, that's fine. Actually, I'm going to get on y'all, too, for messing with me. Some of my other Facebook friends. I'm gonna get on that in 1 second. Brother Winston, how you doing, man? Good to see you as always. And Corey, man, I'm doing fine, my friend. I wanted to get into legitimate talk about what we saw on Friday. And I got a chance to go back and look. I saw a couple of highlights. Obviously, I was at work that night when it was going on. Would have really loved to be at the game. Going to try my best to sneak to that Cleveland game. I'm not sure. I don't even know how they're going to do this now with the 3 preseason games. Normally that third game would be the game with most of the starters and all of that. But now since we only have 3 games, I don't even know if we're going to see Matt Ryan. I don't know. But I'm just going to take very small pieces and talk about them, because what did we really learn in this game? What did we really learn? We learned that our depth might need some work, because the majority of the people who were on the field, barring maybe a couple of folks, I know they let a couple of offensive linemen get out there and get their feet wet for a little bit, but the majority of the folks that were out there, it's probably a 70% chance that you're not going to see them on the roster when we kick this thing off against Philadelphia on September 12th. That's the only reason I kind of have a little bit of pause to say, I don't want to say calm down, because for those who are just saying it's only preseason, in a way, yeah, but these are the guys that you're going to count on if your frontline guys get hurt. Do y'all remember the great promise of 2018 coming off of 2017 and how we didn't have that defensive depth on our team? And it showed. We had an offense that was actually lightening up that year under Steve Sarkisian. Yes, under Steve Sarkisian in 2018. But when our defensive guys start falling like flies, Debo, Neal, Ricardo Allen, and Grady for a good percentage of that year, we didn't have the depth, or the depth wasn't experienced enough. And we ended up, you know how the year ended up, 7-9. A lot of offense that year, but boy, we couldn't stop we couldn't stop anything going into that season. So what you want to see from these games. Oh, what Steve wants to see. And I want to know what y'all thinking about. What do y'all want to see? What's going on, Brother Dre? Great checking in. What's going on, Brother Jack? Brother Jack, what's going on? Only preseason. Ricky, what's going on, my brother Ricky? So, are we overreacting? Or is it just preseason? And I want to go through this a little bit by a little, because I know we've had this summer of discontent. We've had this summer of transactions. We've had this summer of, should we bring this person in? Should we keep this person? Should we do this? We've had all of that going on this summer. This was the first time we saw our uniforms on the field against another team's with their uniform on a field actually hitting each other. So with that excitement comes an expectation. Okay, we hear sustained success. We hear new defense. We hear installing a new offense. So we hear those things. And yes, it's preseason, but there's still a little bit of expectation. These are some new folks. You wanna get a splash of it. You're not gonna get all of it. Matter of fact, probably the majority of the stuff that they do this week, next week, maybe even week 3, probably are dummy plays anyway, because no one's gonna give their full hand in preseason before they kick this thing off. But that being said, you do want to see little pieces and little bitty, sides of this thing. And I get it. So I asked you, and I see comments coming. I'm getting ready to put them up here. Legit concern, or is it only preseason? All right, so I'm going to go down here. Brother Ricky says, everyone needs to stop leaping out of windows. I saw more defense this past Friday night than I saw all year. I will say this. The defense looked good. I like what I saw from a lot of the guys. Brother Etheridge, Marlon Davison, good to see him finally get his feet wet and show some things. I know he had pretty much a lost year last year with the injuries and the COVID and stuff like that, but it was good to see him out there do some things. So I enjoyed what we saw from the defense. Christian, what's going on, my brother? Ricky says we're overreacting. Christian said it's hard to tell right now because I feel like Arthur is trying to figure out who he wants on his roster and who's going to fit within his system. All legit to say that. I mean, this is week 1. And remember, these folks we're not going to see. We're probably not going to see. Matter of fact, if we see any of those folks, with the exception of maybe Marlon Davison or a couple of guys like that, if we see some of those folks on the field week 1, it's because somebody's missing, and we don't want that. But it's good to at least see the depth that you have and see what you have backing up what you're assuming is your first string. Ricky says, Franks is the truth. The defense was on point. If the offense was operating at the same level than the defense, it would have been a different score. I'm going to get to the Felipe Franks thing in 1 second, so stand by with me on there. Brother David, how you doing, sir? I'm somewhat concerned. This means we have no depth on our offensive line, brother. That is something that I really look at and say, woo, if we're gonna compete, you've got to be able to have that offensive line depth. And I tell you what, in small defense of my brother AJ, Alabama Crimson Tide McCarron, he did have a few guys running at him from all places. I know it's easy to talk about the interception and a couple of sacks and the errant throws and things like that, but he was getting a little bit of pressure up front. And those were mostly second string Tennessee guys. Those weren't all the starters for Tennessee. Little concerned about the depth on offensive line. Again, week 1, hopefully we can get that up. Ricky said, I know we got to cut A.J. McCarron. Brandon says, I have concern about the O-line. Thompson and Etheridge with Clack. Boy, I tell you what. And this is good to see with your second string and third string, because maybe that means the defense gets it. Yeah, you look at the score and say 23-3. The defense did not play bad. We turned the ball over in a couple of bad places. We gave up special teams. Remember, we talked last week, and I told not one of you talked about special teams. And I told you guys, special teams is going to be something we got to pay attention to, not just Youngway kicking field goals, covering kicks, running back kicks and punts, working on the onside kick, things like that. We cannot ignore, because they're part of the game. And you mess around and ignore that, and you see they were gashing us for some big plays on the special teams. We got to make sure we have that taken care of. Ricky says, the only concern that I have is the overall offensive line and its rotation. Brandon says, AJ still threw some horrible balls. Both of those picks were horrible throws. I'm not making excuses totally for those picks. Make sure we're clear, Brandon. No way was I making total excuses. But the offensive line was not blocking for him very well. And you can kind of tell by the number of yards we got on the ground. Our leading rusher was the aforementioned Felipe Franks, who we shall go to in a second. Rick Christian, has anybody been cut yet? They were supposed to do that at 4 o'clock, and I'll be honest with you. It's either 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock today, I think. If I'm not mistaken, and forgive me because I just kind of came back in here and started doing some stuff. So I will check that out. And if anybody knows, let me know. Ricky says, Steve, I ain't buying that. A.J. McCarron has been in the league long enough not to play like garbage. He did not move the ball past 20 yards. If he's the backup, then we are really in trouble. Say, I can't give him a hall pass just because the O-line. Okay, so let me reiterate. I am not saying A.J. McCarron gets a pass from anything. A.J. McCarron is a seasoned backup quarterback. If anything, this should be glorified scrimmage for him, because he's playing against second stringers. It's not like he's going out there, in relief of Matt or anybody like that. So he should be eating these guys alive. He did not look well at all. So slow down on, I'm giving him credit. But as we have done for our quarterback number 2, you can't get passes off if folks are in your face in 2 seconds. And that was the case. I'm not saying he's, just totally has an excuse, but the folks were kind of running through the middle on him. Let's not pretend. Marquis said they did make some cuts. Said AJ to be cut. The moment was too big for Felipe. David says several times we got out of our coverage lanes on special teams. This speaks to the discipline of the team. I'm not impressed. What's going on, brother Ron? Ricky said Franks was able to move the ball with urgency more than McCarron, even with the poorest offensive line. Marquis said, yeah, they made some cuts. Brandon Felipe Franks running is not sustainable. I like to see him throw. Here's the thing, too. So I knew this was going to be a conversation. So what I did was I wanted to bring this out and wanted to show this, because I know everybody was so excited when they saw that. When we saw this play, I know what y'all did. Stop lying. What's going on, Mr. Auto Garage? How you doing, sir? He says 4 people have been waived, 1 due to injury. What's going on, Dave? Dave says, is it me or did Matt Ryan really look old in the face? Matt Ryan had some little grays on his side. And if y'all are Dave and my brother from the Auto Garage over there, I'm on Uncle Steve's Lounge on YouTube as well. And we have also added Twitch to the Switch over here today. So I'll get all that information at the end. But Dave says preseason is about depth. This is the play that I think a lot of Atlanta Falcons, and really after you saw what happened from the biggest part of the game, this was the only play that I think got anybody excited on the field that day. Felipe goes back. Still, offensive line not doing their job. Brother Felipe, 6'7", got a little bit of speed. Not, hey, listen, everybody can't be Lamar Jackson. So got a little bit of speed out there, and that was fine. So, listen, that's great. It's kind of the thing that we talk about when we start talking about the type of quarterback going forward. It's nothing you can do about it right now, folks. It's really not. Right now, Matt Ryan is your quarterback. You're invested in him. We're gonna live and die by what Matt Ryan does. The only thing that play did for me was validate that eventually, Falcons fans, that's the future right there. That is the future. That is what we're going to have to do to be successful. To be able to have somebody, to be able to buy time for you to either run for some extra yards or to just let your receiver get open, break open a play, and be able to make that completion. That's the type of quarterbacking eventually that we will need. But you know what? It's 2021. I'm trying not to jump the gun, but that play there. That's why folks got excited about Felipe. Now, was Felipe accurate? He did throw one play that was pretty legit, that the guy ran the crossing route and dude got it right in his hands and dropped it. But he had a few plays where he kind of overthrew and he was behind him on one play. I know I was listening to I'm trying to think, was that my brother DJ Shockey trying to make excuses for Felipe, and he threw the ball like way behind him. A play that if it was Matt Ryan, we would have been killing him on. But Felipe has to be accurate. He's got to be accurate if he does that. Sean, what's going on? Let's see, Sean. Now you ought to look, man. I appreciate you giving the views. Hey, bro, when I see that Auto Garage thing, I'm just thinking that's somebody else. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you very much for all the views you can help me get. I really appreciate that. I appreciate that. Ricky says they're gonna about the groom Franks for QB. I'm not saying that we don't draft one next year, but they are grooming him. I don't want anybody to get super duper excited because I know when y'all saw that play, I know like everybody else stood up and say, boy, we haven't seen that since. Everybody say it at one time. Yeah, Mr. Vic. That type of play from your quarterback. But as I talked about last week, there is probably a reason Felipe is an undrafted free agent. Am I saying he can't be groomed to eventually be a formidable backup at this point in his career? I'm not saying he can't. Boy, the athletic skills, at that height, that's pretty good. So I'm hoping that he can develop, and Arthur Smith sticks with him. I'll tell you what, AJ got one more game, folks. You got one more game if you're AJ McCarron. This game coming up right here, you better show out. You don't show out, you're done. Because we don't have time to be sitting around trying to let a veteran find himself. I'll take my chances with Felipe Franks. Now, that being said, remember, folks, after these 3 games, they usually have a big cut down, and they're going to be quarterbacks on the waiver wire. I don't think the Falcons would feel comfortable saying we're going to have Felipe Franks on our roster and that's it. I think we're going to have to look into something like that, you know. I apologize. Y'all are on fire, man. My bad. Coming down right here. I'm gonna have to read some of these because y'all writing too fast for me. Dave said, I hope Felipe wins the backup job only because he'll get more reps in practice. Os was the sacks for me when that last time we got back there like that. That's the same thing I said. Franks is the future. Brandon says Franks has a lot of work to do. Beat McCarron out first, then we'll go from there. And that's legit right there. Nobody is trying to crown Felipe Franks. When I showed y'all that just to say, yeah, that's one play. That's one play. And I know after this summer of back and forth, Matt Ryan, no Matt Ryan, should we draft, should we not draft, move to the future, stay with the present, and all of that. When Felipe Franks does that play, I almost wish they had a camera on Matt Ryan. I don't know if they did. But listen to the few fans who were there. And that wasn't few fans because they don't like the Falcons. Few fans because it's the first preseason game. Listen to that fan base that was the third quarter, right? Listen to that fan base when you saw that man break for 52 yards. Very interesting. They were booing A.J. McCarron after that second. I think the second interception got called back, by the way. They were booing that man in preseason. People cannot forget what makes us excited. People want that type of athlete at your most important position. That's all. We still love Matt. We 100% down with Matt. We just got to get that together. My brother Joe Bitts, what's going on, Joe? Joe says, our defense is going to be fire. I hope it is. Defense looks like look, if I see my second string players flying around like they did, especially Etheridge, boy, I hope we got a spot for him. Even on special teams, just to get him rolling. A lot of tackles, man. That's a lot of tackles that he had. Awesome. Brandon says, I am concerned about the defense. Hold on. I'm concerned about the defense. Blitzing all the time is a recipe for a disaster if your secondary isn't good. This is what you got to remember. The one thing I do know, Brandon, and a lot of times when you start talking about preseason games and stuff like that, you're probably going to get a lot of blitzing because they're trying to see how. Matter of fact, don't just look at the Falcon game. Look at what Tennessee did. Well, Tennessee didn't blitz a lot. They just overloaded the line on the Falcons. Every time dude went into the no backfield, empty backfield, they just put another person up on the line and say, we're going to outnumber your linemen. And the same thing with blitz packages. If you go back, I was looking at the Pittsburgh, Philadelphia game. All they did all game, it seemed like both teams blitz. I don't think they're trying to show you all the defensive schemes. And really, when you start thinking about the type of defense they're going to run, you don't want them to know where the blitz is coming from. I think they're just throwing some stuff out there right now. I wouldn't be so concerned about over blitzing at this moment. I think they're just trying to put something on there. My brother Armani, how you doing, brother? Good to see you out there. Good to see you. Anthony White, what's going on, sir? Say Felipe Franks has some talent, but he is a long-term project. He is 3 to 4 years from helping a team on the field. And I don't even deny that. I hope you caught me from the beginning. Even in me showing you that play, I'm explaining to you the feeling, not the realistic. The feeling, remember what this group is, folks. At the end of the day, this is a fan group. I know a lot of y'all want to go and dissect and talk about what the arm mechanics and blah, blah, and cha-cha. I get it. But go back and listen. Fans, we just want to see plays. We want to see excitement. We want to see progress. So that one play probably was the most exciting play in a otherwise bland offensive game for the Falcons. When you come up with 3 points in your first preseason game, you got to lay on something. My only thing of bringing that up is just saying Felipe's just that little bit of excitement was enough to get people talking, get people stirred. That's my only point. Nobody's trying to crown Felipe the next quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons at this juncture. I'm not even at a point where I'm 100% trying to get him to supplant A.J. McCarron at second string. Now, if y'all don't think A.J. McCarron knows that his job is probably on the line the next time he goes on the field, he didn't sign a multi-year deal with the Falcons. As a matter of fact, his liability is just as much as an undrafted free agent at this point. Because there will be quarterbacks that will get cut. Shoot, there might be some quarterbacks sitting at home right now that might get a call. A la Chris Redman back when in 2007 when all the Vic stuff happened. Chris Redman was working insurance. And they called him up. He ended up starting a few games for the Falcons. So, yeah, no one is crowning Felipe. But as fans, which is what we are, there is excitement when you see a taste. I know my buddy Tidy was talking about movies that you like and you go back and see and whatever. Think about sometimes that food that you taste. You had an opportunity to go out of town and go to. I'm just making up something. Go to the best steakhouse in Las Vegas. And when you went to Las Vegas, that steak was so awesome, but you don't live in Las Vegas, so you had to go home. And you had that taste, and 8 years ago, it tasted so good. Now you get a chance to go back to Vegas. Guess where you're trying to go? You got to go right back to that steakhouse and get that same taste / feeling that you got before. That's why folks are talking about Felipe Franks. That's why you see his name on the AJC. That's why you saw his highlights on ESPN. Not because Felipe Franks is any prodigy or anything like that. It's because we're in Atlanta, Georgia. And the last time we had somebody move like that at the quarterback position, that's all I got to say. Christopher says, don't forget about that cannon that Frank has. Well, again, he might be able to throw, but he's got a long way to go. First, he got to get the intermediate passes before we start talking about cannon. He had a cannon, he'd be second string right now. Matter of fact, you had a cannon, he would have got drafted. We can say he's cut. Talk about A.J. McCarron. Brandon says, Marlon playing well is a good sign for the D-line. I hope Fowler looks that good too. Marlon, that's great. And it's, we don't want Marlon to turn into another Sanat. Where you come on the team, you were, second round or third round? Whatever, and we're not seeing a lot of you. Don't want to have shades of Rashid Hagelman. Folks that we take in them top 3 or 4 picks. I thought top 3 or 4, like round 1, round 2, round 3. And not turn out to be anything. I'm not saying the jury is still out on Marlon Davidson right now, but if Friday did anything, it gave you some hope that maybe we're trending in the right direction. That's all I got to say, hopefully. Dre says, Steve, what about these fans' clout to cheer other players on teams, i.e. Lance, and Fields. Okay, so here's my take on that. And keeping in mind, sans the Hall of Fame game last Thursday, this is the first chance that we've seen all 32 teams in action, actually doing things. I think the last game was this afternoon with the Colts and the Panthers. This is the first time we've seen that. This is the first time we've seen preseason in a couple of years. So we got a little early taste. This is also the first time we've seen those players that some of us may have wanted here for the Atlanta Falcons. I get it. I was one of those. Is there a quarterback or two out there that are playing for other teams that I initially pre-draft wanted on this team? Absolutely. Absolutely. But that didn't happen. So we move on. What I don't want this to become is a group of, well, you see his stats this week. He showed out. What would he do if he was here? They're not here. Justin Fields is in Chicago, and may he fail in Chicago. Trey Lance is in San Francisco, and may he fail in San Francisco. Because guess what? At one point or another, we got to go see those teams. We see Frisco this year. So are you going to be rooting for Trey Lance when we go to Santa Clara? And if you are, let me know now so I can do what we need to do administratively. Those guys are gone. If you have an affinity for them, I'm not telling you what not to do. But in this group, we talking Falcons. We analyzing Falcons. We talking about what the Falcons are going to do going forward. The Justin Fields commentary, the Trey Lance commentary, it's gone, man. Leave that stuff alone. When I see folks do that, and I know we have natural trolls in this group. You're not gonna tell me it's about 3 or 4 of y'all got like 4 burner accounts. That's all cool. I don't live like that, but more power to y'all if y'all do that kind of stuff. And folks just try to, dig in and do that. But yeah, I'm a little over the Justin Fields stuff. And if y'all want to get real, one of those the touchdown pass, dude, if he doesn't hit that touchdown pass, I'm probably rethinking my draft pick. Dude had nobody around him. Come on, y'all. Come on. Christian said, how did Richie Grant do Friday night? I only saw him a couple of times, and I saw him behind on one catch in the first quarter during the second drive, I think, for Tennessee. But it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard. I know he needs to get his feet wet and get some action in. I think we're going to be okay on that defense. I think the way I saw Dean Pease playing it, I think we're going to be fine. I don't know what it is about us. We always start off letting people gash through. But once Tennessee got right to the 50-yard line, seemed like they got their act together. And who knows, they might have been running on a script as well. Most offenses run off of a 10 to 15 play script for their first couple of drives. And then the defense, again, y'all, we're not trying to show the whole game plan or the whole playbook to the NFL in week 1. So I don't want to judge too much on his individual play because, it's kind of hard right now. But I did see him on the field. He did flash across on a couple of times. He was behind one of the receivers, but Christian says, like Tidy Jones said, we want a new movie. Clayton, AJ gone. Franks can be your future, but that's in him and coach and GM. It would be stupid to let him go to another team. I also got to remember, how you doing, Robin? Good to see you. Good to see you. You got to remember, too, with the Felipe thing, it's going to be interesting because if we put Felipe on a practice squad, if a team wants him, They can't sign him and put on their practice squad. They have to sign him and put him on the roster. So if he ends up being something different by game 3, you might want to protect him on there. And I'm pretty sure with that undrafted free agent contract, it's not like we're going to lose anything. Winston Franks, what's going on, man? You doing all right, brother? Said Franks needs a lot of work as is. He can't step in and lead the team unless we switch and do a lot of RPO plays. And Winston, that's another good point. If AJ or Felipe are called into duty, I hate to say this, but we're probably done anyway. So at that point, what you're trying to see going forward is just who is going to give you a better chance of hopefully maintaining and possibly doing a little bit better. I know that was the first game, first splash of action for both of them. Obviously, you'll give this round to Felipe Franks just for the mere ability to be able to get out of the pocket. Now, were the passes super accurate when they got out of the pocket? No. There were a couple of passes that were right on target, but he needs some work. But there's nothing that can replicate excitement. There's nothing that can replicate the feeling of, look, Matt Ryan goes down. Oh, no. Here we go. Nothing can replicate a guy getting out of the pocket, extending the play. And even if it's an incomplete pass, just to be able to do something different is just great. Rusty says, I don't like the fact that KP and MR2 didn't play. When it was a drive or two, Arthur Smith preached no privilege and every position is open for battle. Doesn't seem like it from PW1. Seems like a few players are going to be grandfathered into positions. Hope I am wrong. Here's the thing about that, Rusty, and what's going on, by the way. Here's the only thing about that. This is going to be unusual. We are in a 17-game season now. You have 3 preseason games as opposed to the 4 last time. We're talking about changing the script from what teams have been doing the past 20-plus years. You only have 3 games. All it takes is one twisted ankle. All it takes is one bruised shoulder. All it takes is one busted knee. And the season is over. Now, I know it's football and things are going to happen, so I'm not trying to say you can avoid everything. But there seems to be a consensus that I don't think a lot of starters are going to play this year. Yes, I saw Tom Brady playing yesterday. Yes, I saw a little splash of Patrick Mahomes. You might not see them again. I don't know. It depends on what's going on. Now, Arthur Smith, yes, he preached accountability. He preached that clearly. But I also say you have to be more careful, folks. You've got to. It's 3 games. Matt Ryan twists his ankle or hyperextends his knee. You're done for the first month of the season. If it happens during the regular season, it's happening. It's meant to be. But I think you have to be careful, folks. Dave says, as far as Richie Grant is concerned, I'll take the tackle over the big hit. He hit a guy who bounced off him and made a positive yards. Yeah, you're right. Her brother Sean said, it ain't a cannon if it doesn't stay loaded. Oh, man. Brother False Start says, no big deal. And overall, Dave says the NFL needs to do away with preseason. Listen, this year is a transition. These 2 years right here, I think we're going to be at 18 games. I give us, 2021? I think by 2023 or 24, I think we're going to be at 18 regular season games, 2 preseason games. If we go to 2 preseason games, there's probably no chance you see starters in those first 2 games. Think about it. That's almost what they're weighing out with the 3 games that they're playing right now. If you go to an 18-game season with only 2 weeks to prep, you won't see your starters. I don't think you will. Brandon says you're taking calls. You know what? I didn't hook it up, but if you give me 1 second, I might have somebody that can help hook up my speaker to it. Brandon, give me a few minutes if you can, or if you wanted to just drop in, let me know and I can send you the link real quick and do that. That might be easier than hooking up to the phone. Christian says I'm no fan of Frappo Franks, but I'm rooting for him to do well since he's on our roster. I think it's funny how some fans think he will be a future X Factor. Christian, you are 100% on. But I say again, Christian, I'm gonna put it up again. I'm trying to tell y'all. Y'all think I'm joking. I'm putting up my own screen of my own self. Y'all think I'm playing with y'all. Think about it. When y'all saw that play, and what it did, the excitement that people had from that one play. I'm trying to pull it up. Y'all have patience with me. Christopher says, too late for that. You're going to get a play-by-play of Justin Fields every week on this group. Already getting that. But here's the problem, though, Chris. This is when you got to get thick skin, Chris. I will be honest, and I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all because a lot of y'all come in all the time and stuff. Some of y'all who complain about those folks are just as annoying as those folks who do it. If you don't give them any attention, they're gonna stop. This is what they hope y'all do. Look at Justin Fields. He's doing great. Ha ha ha. We should have had him. And here are the people that they throw the bait for. No, stop talking about my team. No, Justin Fields isn't here. And y'all get all worked up. And the guy sitting at home at his computer like this. Got him. I'm in their head. Don't pay him any attention. Folks, we got 30,000 plus folks in this group. All of them don't post. They come in every now and then, but all of them don't post. Y'all got to be careful. Stop letting those folks get on your nerves. Don't do that. Chris, you bigger than that. Brother Clayton, what's going on, my brother? How you doing, Lisa? Lisa said that's the thing. Those players do not play for the Falcons. Any success or failures with their team doesn't impact us. Why not focus on the team you claim and rep and ride for? Posting stats of other players to prove a point, that is moot. What purpose does it? That is a moot. Serves what purpose? It serves the purpose of doing what you're just doing right there. Getting folks to be in their feelings about somebody's comments. You know what I do when I see those? You know what I do when I see somebody talk about Justin Fields? You know what I do when I see somebody talk about Trey Lance? I just take my little mouse right here and I go to the next one. They want to debate. They want to start. And then y'all see that little meme that they say they in your head. They living rent free. Why? But why let them get on your nerves? We are Falcon fans. We know that. And we always talk about it. It's okay for us to get on each other. But when we let that person or that troll, they're not a fan. And folks, we can't exterminate all of them. Y'all know good and well when y'all buy that roach spray, y'all spray it on 10, 2 of them get away. Every time. So we can try our best to sift them out. But just like weeds, they'll grow somewhere else. But we try. I admit we do try. Brother Dave says, be aware of some of these takes regarding Frank. Some delusional Georgia Bulldog fans can't get away from college life because he played for the Gators. Oh, that's true. That's absolutely true. Ricky says, so Steve, you mean to tell me that an offensive-minded coach who took Ryan Tannehill, who was onto the soup kitchen and rejuvenated his career, can't take in 2 to 3 years Franks to a starting quarterback? How long did Aaron Rodgers sit behind Brett Favre? I'm with you in the thought that Franks is a diamond in the rough, but that's the point. He has the potential to be that diamond that we need here in Atlanta. If he didn't get hurt in Florida, there probably would be a different narrative when it pertains to him and his draft. Oh, they were trying to get rid of him in Florida, bro. They weren't trying to keep Felipe Franks. Felipe was extremely highly recruited to go to Florida. He did not live up to expectations in Florida. Matter of fact, you can argue he probably lost Muschamp his job down there. So I disagree with you a little bit when it comes to that. That being said, you're right about the potential of Felipe Franks. Yeah, I'm not suggesting to get rid of him. I say you take him and nurture him and try to do what you can. I get that. Yeah, get somebody here, especially since you know Arthur Smith is going to be here. If he becomes the Gilbert Renfro of this team and he eventually turns into something, that's fine. If you don't know who Gilbert Renfro is, ask some of the folks who got a couple of these under their chin. They know who he is. But eventually, it might help you out in the future. I just want to see the young man grow a little bit more. If he does a little bit in game 2 of the preseason or whatever their plan is, then you have to seriously consider. Now, if the season started tomorrow and I had a depth chart, I wouldn't exactly cut A.J. McCarron quite yet because A.J. could have just honestly had a rough game. But put a big butt on there. He did look pretty bad. John Harris, what's going on, brother? Let's get some of these. Let's get straight. Some of these picks from the Quinn Dimitrov era were overrated and overvalued due to the Super Bowl aroma. That's true. It is. Brother Chadwick says, football has begun. Franks needs to work on targeting. John Harris, now I'm going to tell you, there's going to be some major smoke if the decision turns out to be a bad one. I'm not going to harp on it, but the ant under the magnifying glass on the sidewalk. Armand, how you doing, sir? Good to see you. One thing Franks did that was something we wanted to see was that he threw the ball away when he didn't have nowhere to go. I did notice that too, Armand. And the thing was, he gave them another down. Instead of losing 6, he gave them an opportunity to have another play. That is priceless. That is priceless. To go when you're on 2nd and 8 and the rush is coming, and even though you get out of the pocket, the ability to throw the ball away and live to play another down with the same yardage is invaluable. That's actually a really good point. Derek says, healthy Matt lead us 3 seasons without playoffs. So what if Matt gets injured? Yeah, I hear you, Derek, because it did sound like I was suggesting that this was going to be a playoff season with Matt. I think my thing is, Derek, there is no question at all that Matt is your starting quarterback. So I'm saying it from that perspective, that your starting quarterback getting injured is not a positive for anybody. I don't care if he lost 5 seasons in a row. If he's your starting quarterback, and we have deemed him that, it's not going to help us that he's not playing. I'm not going into the hypotheticals of, oh, yeah, well, he's not going to lead us to the 4th year. I'm not getting on that. I'm talking about as your starting quarterback. If Mike Davis gets hurt, you're going to let some of these young boys like Huntley, who didn't look horrible, and hopefully Quadre Allison and Patterson get some plays. But it's not like the season will be absolutely over for them. it's not like the season at running back will be absolutely over. With quarterback, we probably be looking at another top 5 pick. Tidy says 18 regular season games, 2 preseason games, slightly longer than training camps, 2 bye weeks per team. Yeah. Ken says only preseason, no big deal. I see you, Brandon. Give me 1 second. Dre says, I wish we could have a preseason with fans because I know a few in the group who would be gone, dog, man. Clayton said, I saw him in Florida against UGA, talking about Franks. Ken said, Franks should be the backup. I see that now. Clayton says, I lope Franks. You must be I like Franks. I'm sorry. I know this potential. I'm not messing with you, brother. You see these spectacles up here. I think I'm reading something wrong. What's going on, brother Anthony? How you doing? Happy Sunday to you too, my brother. Lisa said, I think it's funny. I post pictures of Matt Ryan. John says, I never started, but I always finish it. Christian, Steve, you are 100% right. Some of these fans saw 7 out there on the breakaway run like we were back at the Dome. Melissa says, rope spray. Derek says, Franks may stink up the joint, then AJ might be looking like prime Matt Ryan. I don't think you're a Matt Ryan fan. Christian, I'll be honest, AJ has only had 1 good game when he was in Cincinnati coming in for the injured Andy. That was a playoff game against the Steelers. Listen, folks, when we got AJ McCarron, that was not a move for the future. Anytime you can always tell what the future is supposed to be for these folks by the commitment that the team makes. Falcons only made a 1-year commitment to AJ. They made more of a commitment with him. Then I would, that would be something else. But they made 1-year commitment with him. I'm sorry, that's not exactly a ringing endorsement. Trying to get you to get in here, brother Brandon. 1 second. Give me a quick second. I'll get you up in here. But okay, I'm gonna go to my second point. I thank y'all for all the comments. This is always very it's always very humbling to see the people that follow and write and stuff like that. So thank y'all very much for everything y'all give with the Bird Gang, everything like that. It's appreciated. Just a small note. I know Tidy mentioned it in his live. What we're going to try to do this year is on Monday have a panel with folks on we've noticed we've had success the last few weeks with talking to you all live interactively on here. Folks, it's cool. I heard him describe it. Once you start getting on here a few times and start talking, you start opening up and getting into the groove of things. So we're going to try to do that on Mondays. I know we haven't had a time, but it'll definitely be before the Monday night game, so you guys and gals can settle in and watch the game and things like that. But we're going to have a after action review on what happens in the first Monday after the Philadelphia game, which will be September 13th. That's when we're going to do our first one. So be looking out for that. And we're gonna try to get that going on here. I heard somebody mention it earlier, but it does kind of make you wonder. Kyle Pitts, all-world tight end, highest pick tight end in the history of the draft at number 4. Rookie did not play. Now, there's a part of me that I'm saying, okay, well, maybe they call themselves projecting him to be a starter, so maybe they sit him out. But there is something that kind of makes you wonder to say, dude, you still a rook. And if I see Trevor Lawrence out there the first game, if I see Zach Wilson out there the first game, if I see Trey Lance out there the first game, I'm wondering, why aren't we seeing our super duper all world, all time guy from Florida out there at tight end? It is kind of concerning. Was there an injury? I'm a little concerned about that. Are you concerned? I'm not gonna lie to y'all. It kind of did make me wonder. And why would he not be on the field? Am I overreacting? I don't know. What y'all think? Kyle Pitts not playing on the field. And I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to paste this thing on from my buddy so he can get on here. But that was kind of interesting that he was not on the field this weekend. Is there a secret injury that he's hiding? Filibustering, y'all. Sorry about that. Y'all like, dang, Steve, did you go silent on us? I'm sorry about that. Steve said y'all should have Steve said. Christian says y'all should have an old school versus versus new school Falcon panel. That would be kind of interesting to see that happen. I definitely wouldn't mind helping to rep the old school, just to let y'all know that we know what we're talking about. Christian says, are y'all having a tailgate this season? I have not heard so far of the tailgate, but if we are, I'm pretty sure we'll put that information out there if we happen to. Tonio says, I have to get on one of those lives. Tonio, we will definitely get you on here. We will try our best to set up more of a panel-like thing hopefully next week. Also, during the week before, we're going to try to get a female fan panel as well. We've already talked to a couple of people to get on there. Hopefully we can get that thing together and get that started as well. It's football season, y'all. It's no time for mess now. Starting in about 2 or 3 more weeks, this thing gonna be rolling, and we need to get as much participation as we can out of everybody. Brandon, I sent you the link, brother, so do whatever you need to do, and I'll see you when you come in. John says, we can't keep him in bubble wrap, talking about Kyle Pitts. Ken says, probably don't want to risk him getting hurt early. I hear you as far as that's concerned. It was almost the same thing I was saying earlier about the decision to play folks in the first couple of weeks. But I would just say, as a rookie, though, as a rookie who's never had any kind of action at all, it's almost similar to, I was literally over here looking at Summer League a little bit earlier, where you talk about those big time first round picks and stuff. They're out there on the court for the most part. Cade Cunningham, our guys, Johnson and Cooper, and a lot of the top guys, Jalen Suggs before he got hurt. All of those guys are out there on the field. So I would just, I don't know. There's just something about that. Just as a rookie, I would like to see what he would do on the field. Tonio says he was dressed, so I don't think it's an injury. I just think they want to see him with the starters, but I wanted to see him play. And I don't even mind you not playing a whole lot. I'm not trying to say go out there and work on my half, but I would like to see him get his feet wet. And let me put this in perspective too. And I haven't talked about this a whole lot because everybody. You don't have to be a season ticket holder to be a fan. Matter of fact, there are fans much bigger than me that probably haven't gone to a game at all. The prices that they're asking you to pay, because you get charged for these games. And this year it's even more interesting because we had 2 preseason games this year. So you're talking about 2 games that you're probably not going to play your starters for a great deal of time, that we have to pay full ride. Now, I know that's a personal financial decision. It comes along with the territory, and it does what it does. But there is something a little strange about that. I just need to see more. I need to see, that's a lot of money. That's a big investment. So, I don't know. Kristen said KP needs to be playing in preseason. This is a whole new level. And that's my only thing. I just want to see him just a little bit. Rusty says, do you think the reason we neglect getting a potential successor for MR2 or backup is because Matt doesn't ever miss a game? So far, we have had fortune as far as Matt's durability. But like you said before, it only takes one play and someone could be out for a while. I posted last night saying Nick Foles would be a good backup if Franks or AJ don't make progress. I have no problem with a Nick Foles pickup if we can, if the price is right. I wouldn't have a big problem with that. I think Nick Foles probably is somebody who wants to get a little bit of money. Brandon, I think if I see down there, I think you're going to have to turn on I don't see your camera on, so you might have to turn that on. But there you go. There you go. All right. I see you, my brother. Let me turn this on so I can hear you. Can you hear me, brother? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, man. How you doing, man? We're welcoming Brandon into the live today. Always good to see one of our folks hanging out with us inside. And Brandon, we were just talking about, I didn't get a chance. I know you were trying to probably get on during that time. What are your thoughts about Kyle Pitts not playing during this time?
Honestly, Steve, they're probably going to he's probably going to get a lot of reps during the joint practice with Miami. They're probably going to use that to evaluate him against another team. I don't really think that he's hurt. I don't really think that it's an issue of him practicing, because if he was hurt, they would probably limit him in practice a lot. Right. So I think that when they go to Miami this week and when we play the Dolphins, I think you're probably going to see him in practice a lot, and then you'll see him a little bit in that game.
And I have no problem with that philosophy, and it goes back to almost saying now, especially the risk with there only being 3 preseason games, you don't want to start the year with your guy you have penciled in as tight end 1 hurt on the first season. I think my only thing, and I was going back, tying a little bit of the preseason thing to, listen, it's not going to hurt my feelings that I don't see Kyle Pitts on the field for a long time. But as a fan, and that little extra money I got to pay for that preseason game, I would at least want to see him run a route at least one time for the money that I'm paying for the tickets this year. I'm not complaining about not seeing Matt because Matt's 14-year vet. I'm not expecting that to happen. But there's a little bit to me where I'm saying, okay, let me see a little bit of you, if you can understand what I mean.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's a legitimate. What you're saying is legitimate. There's no doubt about it. Like, you're still a rookie. You still haven't played in the NFL. But they are going to evaluate on this first preseason game and in these practices. They're going to really evaluate in these joint practices with Miami to see how our guys respond against another team and in this next preseason game. So I think you're going to see a lot of Kyle Pitts in practice, especially against Miami, because they want to see, they have one of the better defenses in the league. They're going to want to see him against their number ones and see how he responds against their number ones. But Man, Marlon Davidson and Thompson and Etheridge, man, they look
They
good,
brought it,
man.
didn't they? They brought it.
They look
They,
good, man. They
and,
look good, man.
and Etheridge, what I like to see from especially my linebacker, I like to see volume tackles. And not only was he getting tackles, legitimately just getting tackles, but he was getting tackles on the point of contact, not a tackle pull you for about 2 yards and get out. He was going to get it.
Yeah, he was going to get
That's
it.
what
He
you
was going to
like
get
to
it.
see. Yeah, I love that attitude. Talk about Marlon Davidson for me. I think this is not by chance make or break for him. I don't think he's going to legitimately be here and everything like that. But there is a little bit. Remember last year during the draft, he was doing a little chirping about doing what he was going to do and how he was going to do it and all that. But what are you looking forward to the most about seeing big Auburn guy in there?
Well, what I saw from him, Steve, that really gave me a lot of, really made me really like, okay, he doing well. Is he's using his hands really well. He coming off the ball, and as a D lineman, you really want to see that, man. He chopping them guy arm down. He doing swim move. He doing rips. He doing all of that. He ain't just engaging a guy and getting, bullying a guy and all of that. He's using his hands. He's doing the things he was doing at Auburn. So to see that translate to the NFL is a good thing. And I think that, if you got a guy like Keys and you got Grady Jarrett next to you, okay, now that Marlon Davidson is showing what he can do now your D line is starting to look a whole lot better. Whole lot better. Because you really do need another guy with Grady Jarrett to give him a spell or to play next to him that can beat a one-on-one block.
Right.
And if
Sean
your boy, come on with me.
No, go ahead, Brandon.
I was gonna say, and if your boy Fowler can come on and do a little something like, if he can come on and give us a little something, now your D line is looking a whole lot better because look, you got Marlon, you got Kaminsky, you got Grady, you got Foyer, you got Dion, you got Michael, you got Etheridge, you got Thompson. Now this front seven is looking legitimate. That's what you need.
And when you saw what he was trying to do, somebody was saying earlier about them doing all the blitzing, and I was saying to myself, well, you're gonna see teams do more blitzing in preseason games. They're trying to see how they're gonna do this thing. You're not gonna see folks blitz like that during a regular season game 60 to 70% of the time. They did throw a lot of blitzes out there, but I think they were just trying to see what those guys could do in those positions, as opposed to that being the game plan. Sean did say, talking about Marlon Davidson, him not playing added more disdain for us drafting him that high. And I think that's a fair point where you start saying it looked like an old Dimitrov type pick, somebody in the second, third round, defensively, Rashid Hagelman, Parade Jerry, Jamal. Was Jamal under his? Jamal might not have been under his watch. I think Jamal might have been the other. No, was that Dimitrov? No, that was after. That was before Dimitrov. But some of those defensive guys that he picked in the past that haven't panned out, I just I don't know, man. I don't have a lot of faith in him.
Don't have a lot of faith in Dimitrov or Davidson.
No, and what Dimitrov did. And when he was here. And the only reason I mention him because he's gone, but as somebody said, his aroma is still here because barring the draft class and a couple of one-year vets, there's still a lot of Dimitrov on this team.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of Dimitrov still on the team, and Dimitrov had a bad track record for drafting linemen, but from what I seen to Davidson on Friday, he looked like he might be okay. Now I don't know, man. He wasn't playing against the starters, but he looked like he might be okay. Hopefully, he is okay.
Right, I'm hoping he is because we're counting on him on that defense.
And another guy we didn't mention, Steve, Ogundeji. Ogundeji was playing well too. Now,
yeah, man. I thought that was a sneak pick that they got when they got a chance to get him. Now, I don't know what the whole story on why he fell as far as he did, because I know there were times during the year where people were saying he was a number one round one pick, possibly coming off the edge. But he got a motor, man.
Yeah, Ogundeji is going to be a good role player for them Falcons if he can continue to do what he's done. I mean, I really like the kid size. Like you say, he got a good motor, and that's really all you need at that D line to, make an impact. We don't need you to be Aaron Donald right now. We need you to come in, give us quality reps, and go right back out.
Well, sans Grady Jarrett, we haven't had anybody on our D line to write home about in the last couple of years. So anybody that shows the potential to do some things. So if you get him, you get Marlon, you get Grady, and have those guys in there. And to your point, just my brother Fowler. The one thing I've encouraged about Fowler is that they redid his contract, and he didn't make a big beef about it. He didn't, they turned it into an incentive-laden contract, which they should have. So he has to prove it now. He doesn't get the full guarantee that he was originally planned in the contract. Now we can basically cut bait with him next year and not get a heavy cap hit. What are your expectations for him as far as numbers for Dante Fowler?
If he's healthy, well, you know what? Fowler has been a good run defender. Fowler plays the run pretty well, so he's been all right with that. Mm-hmm. He needs to give us consistent pressures, consistent sacks. That's not all on him, because a lot of times if you're the only guy that's on the team that can rush the passer, teams are going to scheme for you. At the same time, this year he needs to stay healthy. He needs to give us consistent pressure, consistent sacks, and stay healthy. It's not only on him. We need sacks from Grady. We need sacks from Marlon. We need something from Kaminsky. We need a little bit from Ogundeji.
Uh-oh. I heard him popping off. Brandon, just refresh the thing. When you refresh it, it'll come back on. I'll put you right back on. Refresh your thing. Yeah, you made some good points though. I mean, and seeing what Dean Pease did with a second and third string guys, at least the game plan can work. The game plan actually has the potential to work for us this year. I like it. I like the guys he mentioned. Those guys seem to might be able to rise to the occasion. Hopefully they will. So next week, when we start talking about preseason, what we see from Matt, we already talked about Kyle Pitts, what he's going to bring to the game. What I'm most interested in next week is two different things. I want to see how the offensive line run blocks, and I want to see how the offensive line protects Matt. Those are the two things that are key to success for us in 2021. I know they came out with the first depth chart this year for the Falcons, and really weren't any huge surprises along the way. But I want to see our running backs in action. Want to see if Davis is going to give us that extra oomph and that extra kick we needed. The last time we ended up picking somebody out of the woodworks for a year, and that was our brother Gurley, and that didn't end up working out too well. So let's hope that Mike Davis can live up to the hype and give us at least 4 yards per carry. I'm not even looking for the 1,000 yards. I think we have enough running backs back there. I would imagine Davis and Patterson are probably the only two guys that I'm pretty sure that are going to be on this 53-man roster this year. I guess the jury is probably still out on Allison on whether he's going to be around. But I'm looking forward to seeing what this running game can do, because we're going to live and die by keeping that ball and keeping the possession of the ball. I think time of possession is just going to be so huge. If you think about even the years we were throwing up 30, 40 points a game in 2016, one of the great things we did during that year is we held the ball and we controlled the ball. We controlled the pace. Even though we did no huddles, we still ran the clock down to about 5 seconds. Took just clock management, everything. Now, we can't get Ryan's body in actions from 2016 back, but I'm pretty sure mentally he's still able to do what he needs to do going forward. I'm just trying to tell you that was that's what I'm looking forward to going into next season into next week. See what we can do during the run game. That's going to be very important for us. Going in, folks, I appreciate you guys joining me today. I got to cut it short a little bit today. We got a couple of things I need to take care of. But again, appreciate it. We all appreciate it on the Atlanta Bird game. Don't forget, if y'all get a chance, please subscribe to Uncle Steve's Lounge on YouTube. I will be doing live reaction games for the away games this year. So if y'all don't know what live reaction games are, I'll be watching the game with you guys with my TV right here. We'll go through it together. It's kind of fun, a fun concept. If you don't know what it is, go look at some other YouTube websites. Just put in live reaction. Where I'll have the scoreboard up and we can kind of keep up with things together. I think it's going to be fun to do that. I'm also going to still promote my brothers on my brother Sean doing his stream on Atlanta Bird Gang. I want y'all to absolutely stream into that. Y'all act like y'all don't have a radio, TV, and social media on at the same time anyway. So just put your uncle on there so we can get some stuff going for this season. I love to see y'all in there. We can do some things together and have a good time watching these Falcons. Until then, I'll probably pop in tomorrow for a short time just to update some stuff and get officially these cuts that we had for the Atlanta Falcons today and talk about the upcoming week against Miami. Thank you to my brother Brandon Marshall. I know you ended up getting cut off, but I appreciate you coming in. If you are interested in coming in to hang with me for a little bit during the live, feel free. Inbox me. Let me know. I'll be glad to have you on. We'll try our best to get as many of y'all on now, and later on we'll get it all together. Y'all have a good one, man. Happy Sunday to you. Take care. Peace. Rise up.